Welcome everyone to another episode of the Will and Rock MMA podcast.
What's up, everyone? So the UFC 226 results are in. We're gonna start with some news. The first one is Ozdemir Volkan got an altercation in a bar, and charges were brought against him. The good news is that the charges officially been dropped.
This did happen in the U.S. as well.
It happened in the U.S. We're in the U.S. I didn't really look into, but I know those charges were. He had charges against him. Those charges were now dropped, so they're moving forward with the fight versus Gustafsson. And as you know, we spoke about this last week. It's something to really look forward to.
Gustafsson needs to come back. He needs to stay active.
Yeah.
So I'm not that I'm not interested in seeing Volkan, even though he's been doing so well. Going into fighting with someone like Gustafsson puts him back in the scale, but the reality is that people are going to tune in for Gustafsson.
It's a great international fight. Both fighters not being from the U.S., I think, is going to bring a lot of light towards the UFC from different countries, and two of the top level light heavyweights are going to get into the octagon. So something to really look forward to. The next one was Robert Whittaker, who is going to be fighting against Kevin Gastelum. And they haven't booked the venue yet, and they haven't booked the date yet. Is they both agreed on the fight? It's either going to be December 8th or December 29th. And as we know, December 29th is the end of the year card for the UFC, so something that they probably should consider doing.
They're both coaching the Ultimate Fighter as well.
Right, they both. Right, I'm sorry, I should have said that. Yeah, that's the finale show, as we all know. The coaches fight at the end. So if it happens in the 8th, it happens in Toronto. If it happens the 29th, it happens in Vegas, like it always does.
So this goes back to the same thing you said about that Ozdemir versus Gustafsson fight. These are both guys, a British guy versus a Mexican guy. International awareness goes crazy for something like this. People tune in. You get, Latin America. You get the Europe. Like, everyone comes in to really watch this fight. This fight, wherever you put it, is gonna sell. And this is high level MMA.
Yeah, no,
between these two guys.
Yeah. The next one that I don't know how high level MMA it is at this point of their career. Chuck Liddell versus Tito Ortiz are officially agreed on fighting on a pay-per-view event that Oscar De La Hoya is going to be part of. As we all know, the Golden Boy Promotions.
This is a mistake. My personal opinion, and also depends on who else is going to be on that card.
Right.
In order to make it a pay-per-view, because Chuck Liddell and Tito Ortiz pay-per-view event at this stage of their life is not going to sell.
I was looking forward to the fight. I'm not going to lie. Who even if you're not a fan, I know you heard of freaking Chuck and Tito. You know what I mean? So it was. I think it was too easy. It was like, of course they should make this free. They don't have the hype that they used to have for them to put this on pay-per-view. On top of that, who is Oscar De La Hoya going to put together? How is he going to even put this together?
Well,
who else is going to put?
Right, and I think the biggest picture of all this is, what is Oscar doing with the sport? Is this something that he really wants to go into it? I won't think he's going to go into it full time because he's really a true boxer. But is he going to be able to juggle both MMA and boxing? And how much is he going to put attention to the boxing? Into the MMA. So this is like a huge question for Oscar. And what's after this fight? Like, what is he looking for after this fight? Because it could help that if he once in a blue moon puts out two legends and puts them to fight. I don't mind it. Like Randy Couture versus God knows who. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But my point is, if that's what he's leaning towards, to put legends in the octagon, it'll be a thing to watch and it'll be nice to see. But what is he? That's all he's doing. You know what I mean? Like, what is he really doing for MMA? Is what I think that's what the biggest question comes out of all this.
We don't know yet. We're yet to see what Oscar De La Hoya is going to do with his Golden Boy Promotions as far as MMA goes. But I guess the future would tell. So that's the ending of the news. We have more news going, but it kind of pertains everything to UFC 226. So let's get right to it. As we know, the results are in. So somebody's taking shots.
Wow. Not looking forward to it.
All right, so let's start with the first fight of the bout, right, from the main card. We have Gokhan Saki versus Khalid Roundtree Jr. A great way. They started out really, really well. Like, both stand-up fighters, I really expected Gokhan Saki to be a little more of the aggressor, which he kind of was at the beginning.
I think that's the reason. Okay, I finished it, but I will say that's the reason why he got clipped.
Right, no, absolutely. You're completely right. He got a punch right down the middle. It was a KO, so Roundtree took the victory. It was just in the first round with 36 seconds to go for the fight.
The way, by the way, you got to take a shot. You might as well do it, right? The way he did it, it was such a great right hand. Caught him with a right hand, and he didn't even necessarily realize how much he had hurt him. Kosaki went down, and all of a sudden, Junior just went right on top of him and hammer punched him till it was a wrap. So shutouts to Junior. I think he did a phenomenal job. I think I hit the button. He did a phenomenal job. And really looking forward to seeing both of these guys. I think Kosaki, coming in, he's still somewhat fresh into the MMA world, or into the UFC world, I should say, because he's an amazing kickboxer. And people who don't know exactly who he is, Google him.
Yeah, go on YouTube.
Watch it.
He's a fucking beast. He's been in the sport for many years. But you're right. He just came in. He's 1-1. He won his first one by knockout. He lost now this one. He got knocked out. So I hope he gets it together because he's a very exciting fighter. Anybody you're gonna put up against him, he's gonna try to knock your lights out. He's in it for the win.
I'm with you.
So I lost because I ended up picking Kosaki. You won because you obviously picked Roundtree. Again, first round KO with 1 minute and 36 seconds.
Phenomenal performance, Junior. He is a force to be reckoned with in his division again, man. Absolutely. We're getting a lot of these young guys coming up big time.
And then the other fight was Michael Chiesa versus Showtime Pettis, Anthony Showtime Pettis. Showtime is back.
Yo, man, Showtime is back. I went against him, no? I had Michael win.
We both had. We both had Showtime taking this bout. I just didn't see Chiesa really like standing up with a guy like Showtime, right? I expected Chiesa to wrestle him, which he kind of did, and
he tried
got really close to submitting Showtime for a little bit, very short, brief moment.
If you recall me saying I wouldn't be surprised if Showtime submits Chelsea. Yeah. So go to the last YouTube and check us out in the last episode that we did. I called it out because he's an underrated jiu-jitsu artist.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know what he did to Gabriel Melendez, and it was great. Like what he's been doing, like he puts people in, just chokes them out. But the way he did it, like he locked in the triangle choke and he didn't let go. Well, he started off really working it. And if you guys love jiu-jitsu, this is like high level jiu-jitsu, bro. It's how he transitioned into it, how he kept working on it till he finally grabbed it. And like you said, really deep in, there was no way. There's no way.
The minute he locked it, it took just maybe 3 seconds
and
before
he tapped. It's more when he flattened him out. When he flattened him out, it was a done. It was a wrap.
It was a wrap.
But
so this happened before you continue. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but it was in the second round. It was only 52 seconds left on the clock. Tremendous win by Showtime.
To keep it short, is Showtime back? I mean, thank God. He still look a little sloppy, but you can see the level of this guy.
I'm happy for him. I'm happy that
he needed it. He needed his victory.
I do agree with you, man. The next but not least, we had Paul Felder, who fought against Mike Perry, and we both had Paul Felder taking this fight, and I really do believe that he would have won this fight if Paul Felder didn't break his right hand.
He ended up breaking his right hand, did a spinning back fist, and broke his... I'm not sure if he broke his hand specifically, or he broke his forearm with the spinning back kick. And Rogan had mentioned in the fight, he said, those shots are very dangerous. If you have to know how to... You got to throw them in the right time, or you could break your hand, and just like that.
And it's sad, because it happened so early in the fight. You could tell his hand was back here. He wasn't making a full fist, so you know something was wrong with it. He still threw it here and there, so I'm pretty sure he shattered a whole bunch of bones in his hand. It's going to take him a while before he gets back into this octagon.
With that being said, it's part of the game, and Mike Perry... The thing about Mike Perry is that he has a freaking chin. But he doesn't have his endurance. Been his biggest call-out. He was throwing heavy punches towards the end of the fight. Thank God. Like he needed this victory more than anyone else, because the UFC somewhat hyped this man up. Also, he has a mouth on him, which makes him more entertaining.
Easy to promote.
And the fact that he ended up finally giving the UFC what they expected from him, which was a victory. And let's not forget that Felder also took this fight in short notice. So Yeah, man. Do you want me to take the first one?
Yeah, you can go ahead and take the first one. So we both lost, so technically we both take shots in this one. As we're talking about this one, let's talk about the next one. We had Derek Lewis, who fought against Francis Gano, one of the most boring heavyweight fights ever recorded in history.
Okay, take the shot.
Yes, sir, I will.
Unbelievable. So this is where this fight kicks in. Somewhat to defend Derek Lewis behind this, he ended up getting back spasm towards the last after the round. After the first round. So second and third round, he wasn't fully. He kept going back, saying my back. To an extent, there is some sort of an excuse behind it. I still think that Lewis could have been way more aggressive.
I agree with you.
Francis Gano, don't know what the fuck he was thinking, bro.
Yeah.
What the hell was that? That was by far the worst performance of somebody with that much hype behind him.
Yeah, he came out and he said that he wasn't in his right mind after the Miocic fight, and he was hesitant that he was going to either get out wrestled, or that Lewis would land the bigger shot. But even in the third round, knowing that he was losing, he just decided, hey, I'm going to just take this L, because his teammates, every time he would get to his corner, they would tell him, you're down 2 rounds.
Let loose.
Right,
let loose.
And he still managed to not do that, even with at least 10 seconds on the clock. Like, why not go out?
So back to what you're saying, after late in the second round, you realize Lewis is there to fight. Lewis is there to stand up. Granted, he didn't do much, but he was there to stand up.
He was the aggressor out of both of them.
Right.
A little bit more.
Right, so why assume that he was going to get taken down? And if so, man, fuck it. Like, do something. You have to do something to win this fight, especially when you're a caliber like him, who just made a highlight reel dominating and knocking out Alistair Overeem, and then going and fighting Miocic and just getting really outworked more than he really got knocked out. Yeah, Miocic ended up winning, but then again, it's Miocic, right? But at the end of the day, it's like, you're fucking Francis Gano, bro. There's so much that rides in you. This is a huge disappointment. Dana had nothing nice to say, and granted, we know Dana was not going to say nothing nice about this. And I'm really concerned with him as a fighter, where his mental game is, and if he's clocked out.
He said that he is ready for the next fight. He apologizes for the lack of performance that he put up for UFC 226, but I'm looking forward to him fighting again, because I feel like I don't think he would do this ever again. I really don't. And I mean, I didn't expect this to happen. I didn't expect to even have this conversation to begin with, because this is the one that I expected somebody to get knocked out in.
This was the fight that's supposed to set the card right for you to go, holy shit, we still have Daniel Cormier versus Stipe, you know?
Yeah.
That was the fight. And they did not deliver, and that falls on both of them. Granted, Francis Lewis won. Derek Lewis won. But Francis' performance was so lackluster that we're all in shock.
Yeah, I agree.
I was so disappointed. I almost fell asleep to that fight. I'm not exaggerating. I almost fell asleep to that fight.
I was like, oh, this one is coming, and it just never came.
Never came.
Time. It was very.
Who's that?
So that's your shot.
You sure?
Yeah, absolutely. You picked Francis Gano to knock him out in the first round.
Damn.
I picked Derek Lewis to out-wrestle him. So it's your shot, my brother. You can play the next one. So the last one, Stipe Miocic versus Daniel Cormier. I picked Stipe Miocic because I really felt like Stipe Miocic was gonna outgrind him a little bit more. Maybe had a little more power and probably could have knocked out Daniel Cormier. I always bet against Miocic, and I felt like it's only right for me to pick him for this fight. Unfortunately, he got his lights knocked out. So
first of all, Daniel Cormier looked like he was completely out of shape for this fight.
Like he always does.
Yeah, like he does every other fight, but this fight he had to gain weight. You could literally see it in his face, and you could see it in the width of his fucking body, bro. Can we? I felt like if Stipe could have grinded him out, he probably would have won them, because at the end of the day, you gain weight. That's not good for you. You're bound to lose in a decision fight that way. But the fact that Kamier did what he set out to do, just like the post says, and the way he hit him, man.
Yeah.
I mean, Kamier is really in a whole new fucking level. You know, now for me as a fan, I'm thinking to myself, Demetrius Johnson, Daniel Cormier, because the way Kamier is finishing fighters, man.
He's finishing fighters. I agree with you 100%. It's just so hard to see when John Jones is just, like he's right over him all the whole time.
So he went, and that's one thing that Kamier, and to credit to Kamier, he said he had both belts on him in the press conference, and he said, no one could deny that I'm the best heavyweight in the world. Yeah. This one could be questioned. Light heavyweight could be questioned because I've lost to John Jones. This one can be, and that's if Stipe at going into this fight was known as the best heavyweight fighter to ever step into the foot in the octagon. What the fuck does that make Daniel Cormier to knock out the champion? And tonight come out in an amazing way. Found the opening and threw it just enough. I honestly think if you look at Daniel Cormier's face, you realize that he didn't realize that he hit him that hard.
And I think it's because
it's placement. It was placement versus power, and that was so precise.
That's a very good point.
Kudos to that guy, man.
And the thing that Cormier also said after the fight was that he took really good shots. He really, Miocic hit him with a couple of good shots, but he's like, man, they did not hurt. So I'm just going to knock him out. And he did just that, Tremendous performance by Daniel Cormier.
Shout out to Stipe for being a class act, bro. There's a reason why I freaking like that dude.
Cheers. I took the L, so I'm going to.
Oh, man. Good luck with that. All right. So to wrap up this whole thing, what happened to that circus show after the fight? That's
one of the news that I wanted to bring up. Daniel Cormier says...
has a speech so well spoken for somebody who just took a couple of hits from Stipe. Can we give him some credit for that?
Absolutely. But says that he wants to step into the octagon with Brock Lesnar. Calls Brock Lesnar into the octagon. Brock Lesnar runs into the octagon, and the first thing he does is just push him. Puts a WWE move on his
Thank you. I was just gonna say that.
Daniel Cormier did not see it coming, like what he says. I don't know if it's true or not, because at this point, I feel like it's a big WWE scene. Didn't see it coming. Daniel Cormier makes sure to say the last words. He said, you might have pushed me now, but I'm knocking your lights out in the octagon next time I see you. So...
I don't even want to get into it. It was a WWE scene. Honest to God, is Brock Lesnar. If he wanted to push Cormier, he would have knocked Cormier down. You could see that the way he pushed him was only almost halfway and stopped. Yeah. If we think about it, Brock Lesnar comes from knowing how to promote fights. He's almost a McGregor in that aspect. And he is like McGregor. He backs that shit up. No. He's been a UFC heavyweight champion before.
Brock Lesnar is the fucking truth. Nobody should ever doubt a guy like the guy. He's an All-American. He came into the UFC. He
wiped out the division.
Without a doubt. Herring, the Cowboy Herring, he knocks out Randy Couture for the belt. How many people he beat fucking Shane Carwin when he was in the fucking peak of his career.
He retired Carwin, unfortunately.
He did. You're right.
And the losses that he took a loss versus Alistair Overeem. He took a loss versus Cain Velasquez. Those fights those are heavyweight fights. And at the time, both of those fighters were the best heavyweights in the world, if you think about it, because they end up fighting each other after that. Okay. So, with that being said, Brock is not to be questioned. Because Cormier, and I'm being selfish here as an MMA fan, because Cormier just came off a quick victory, did not take that much punishment, could we see him in November in New York City?
It's a possibility, and I hope so. I really want to see if we could get tickets and go catch that fight.
Fuck yeah, man! Fuck yeah! But you also think about it that there's a long layoff from now into November. Gives both of them give Cormier a freaking month off, relax, and go full-blown training for the next 4 or 5 months. Yeah. It could happen. I hope it does happen for the UFC's sake. They need, after what Francis Ngannou pulled, after what Max Holloway pulled out, the UFC needs a clean slot of card that they say this is the biggest card of the year, and everyone shows up to it, everyone performs.
Hopefully.
To this day, this year, I should say this day, there's only been one card that's done that. They need more cards to do that.
I agree, man. I agree, and you know, there is also rumors that Conor McGregor might come back to fight against Khabib sometime in October. There's a lot to look forward to. Let's just hope everybody's healthy. Let's just hope that everybody comes and is able to deliver. And till then, we'll see you guys on the next episode. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, the Will and Rock MMA podcast, and YouTube, the same exact thing. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. We're more than happy to answer.
Yo, good luck to everybody who's been viewing our stuff, man. Appreciate it. Have a good day, guys.
Have a good